Live from the heart of Hollywood at Genghis Cohen, it's the Nighttime Show. Tonight we have a very special guest, star of Ghost World, Public Affairs, Hocus Pocus, and the upcoming Above Suspicion, Thora Birch. With me, as always, is Matt Walker. I'm the voice of the Nighttime Show, Mike Black. And now, the hostess with the mostest, Mr. Stephen Kramer Glickman!
Yo! We're doing it! We're making it happen, and we are here. Thank you for the applause.
He called you the hostess because you're all Twinkie.
Oh, you know what?
Full of
what? I
Twinkies.
should have said the host with the most hostess.
That's
pretty good.
Yeah, that
The
would've been
host
good.
with the most hostess.
Already ruined the show.
Save it for another one.
Maybe.
Save it for the future, Mike.
Fine.
We have Thora motherfucking Birch here. You are on.
Yeah,
You're
yo.
here. Yo. What's up, girl? What's up, girl?
So do some freestyle rap for us.
We're doing-
Ceiling comes to mind, but anyway,
Yeah.
no. Hey,
Wow.
happy to be here.
Yeah. Wow. This is so great. We're so happy to have you on the show. I'm a big fan. We're all big fans.
We were all delighted when we heard the news.
I really appreciate that. I've
No.
definitely been checking up on you guys and spying on you.
Have you listened?
So, like, I know
Have you
all
listened
about
to anything? Have you?
I
had
did.
to-
I did. It was the the one who worked with Ethan Suplee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the one I heard everything
guy.
in, and then I wanted to definitely. I started the Tom Sizemore one, but then
Yeah.
no,
He
it
fell
wasn't-
asleep halfway through that episode.
That's
so
not,
it's
no,
okay.
honestly, I probably should have started with that one, but
You
They
should
both
listen
were
to the
great.
Tom Sizemore one with Friends. With
Yeah,
the
that
support
makes sense.
base.
I love the
The
Ethan
support
Suplee
base,
one
yeah.
because of the whole story with him and the guy that was Jesus on the airplane.
Oh, on the
yes,
airplane,
Jim
yes.
Caviezel, which actually I have a weird encounter with Jim.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, so which we've all heard about his intense religiosity, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally cool, super cool, whatever floats your boat, But so we're at this weird party, and it was back when Jeff Bridges was doing that movie where he played the old guitarist guy.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And that's basically he was playing himself at that point. But anyway,
I think that was the title.
right. So
Old
I'm just a
guitarist
stalker
guy.
for him anyway because of the dude
Right.
and
Yeah.
everything. So anything that he shows up at that I get invited to, I'm like, I'm gonna go. So we're there, and he's rocking out on stage. He's doing his thing, and he's a legit musician. Like, he's really, really good. Jeff Bridges is the tits. But then all of a sudden, like, Jim Caviezel, which I don't know if it's Caviezel or Caviezel.
I think
anyway,
Caviezel.
Caviezel.
That sounds more
Yeah,
biblical.
so he's like on the phone while Bridges is just laying it out.
Oh,
And he's like on the phone, but I don't know if he's really talking to anybody. And then
Just
he
trying to
comes
look
up to me
cool.
and he towers over me because he's super tall, and he just like starts looking at me super intently all of a sudden, and he's like wants to talk. And I'm like, wow, I was really creeped out. I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, everyone else seems to be paying attention to the free concert that we're being gifted with,
Yeah.
and maybe we should respect that,
Yeah.
And he just bores into me with these eyes, and like wants to keep talking. Now, like I have to ignore him at a certain point. I'm like really freaked out. I'm like, wait, what was that all about?
Yeah.
Because I heard about how religious he is and everything. I'm like, why are you trying to?
Yeah, he's trying to get some of that
maybe
Yeah, possibly.
Get my number. I
Yeah.
don't know. Thought you were married. Anyway, I don't want to start shit, but
But
yeah, maybe that's just how Jesus rolls.
Yeah.
I hope it is.
He turns water into wine, and then he uses that wine
That's
to
for
pick
a
up
reason,
ladies.
by the way. Yeah.
Now, was
That's all for a purpose. Yeah.
he on the phone the whole time while he was like staring at you? Or-
Yeah, and then he would like stop and whisper briefly, but then and then just all of a sudden forgot that he was on the phone, but kept
So-
holding it to his ear, which I thought was super.
Maybe it was
impressive.
God. Maybe it was God telling you need to hit
Must
on
have
it.
been it.
It was
Or
God
Birch
telling
in the
him that
middle
he
of this
should ask
freak
us.
So
concert.
So
would you
wait, are
say
you saying that Jesus is actually a fan?
Or a hound.
I have to come
Like
here
a-
more often. If this is the kind of messaging that I'm getting. I have to
now? Would you say then, for the record, for any guys out there listening, that's a bad move to be on the phone while you're trying to hit on a girl? That's a bad move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, maybe having played Jesus is not it's kind of a
That doesn't
non-starter.
help.
It's not a panty dropper.
Especially if you're not him. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be different if it was him.
If you could turn water
go-
into
if
wine.
he could prove it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
DNA testing. I don't know.
There's a swimming pool.
Sure.
Walk on top of the swimming pool.
Walk on a swimming pool, set up a dinner date on the swimming
I have
pool.
a pool. Let's go.
Yeah,
Get out
exactly.
walking on there. Let's go.
That's how Chris Angel gets all the
Make the
girls.
Pope do magic tricks for you or something.
Make Pope Francis endorse Coke.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm kidding.
Do you have a like what's the weirdest thing when a guy has hit on you, like, or an actor or a person? Do you ever have like, other weird people try to?
Oh man, I think I spent so much time hoping that like certain other actors would hit on me. That, like,
Jeff Bridges.
Henry Fonda. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, no, Peter. It would be Peter Fonda. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Leave the Fondas out of it. Right?
Just leave the
Leave
Fondas
the
out.
Fondas out of it. Got me going down a weird, twisted, dark hole. But no, I think one thing that was always surprising for me was that I felt like after every film that came out that got a lot of recognition of mine, specifically back in the late 90s, early mid 2000s or whatever, I always thought like, oh, this is my wave. This is the wave of penis and balls that I'm going to have shaking over me. And I'm just going to have like my pick of the litter. And I'll just be able to take and choose and like which
History
one
of
I
the
want.
World
And
yes,
it doesn't
yes.
really, like, actually, it's the opposite. Like, you don't get hit on. You don't get approached.
They get more intimidated.
No, it's like you're a weird, it's like you become Rapunzel. You are locked in some weird tower because nobody wants to take that on.
You just
I
have to get
guess.
on Instagram.
Or at least they didn't then.
Yeah.
Yeah, get on Instagram, put on one bikini picture, you'll get all the dick that you want.
I think she's getting a.
Matt knows.
Right dick, though.
No,
Yeah,
that's-
it'll be the
we're
wrong-
looking for
it'll be
that
the wrong
high-end
one.
pool, okay?
Thank you,
We're
Thora.
looking at-
Yeah, come on. Yeah, no,
Matt knows
We're
what he's
looking
talking
for that
about
high-end pool, like
for
Yeah.
quantity, not so much for
Don't-
quality.
Yeah, it's
about
volume.
the quality.
Volume,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking
That's about quantity,
Oh,
not quality.
yeah.
Matt gets all the dick he
I mean,
wants.
I was all about the volume of quality.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay.
I was looking
There you
for.
go.
Yeah.
That makes good
You're
You're
sense.
not-
expecting the entire wave
No,
to be
no,
quality
just
dick.
amongst the 3.5
Yeah, it's not going to be the
genetic percent.
DiCaprio
What is it?
Clooney pool. It's going to
Yeah.
be
Well,
the Tom
could-
You
Sizemore
shouldn't
pool.
have told me
Yeah.
then, okay?
It
I
could,
was,
but
I was aiming high, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, come on. As you should.
Yeah.
As you should.
It's good to
As a
believe in
lovely
yourself.
lady.
You should.
You
Yeah.
take
Yes.
you take whatever you make it happen.
You take whatever you get.
No,
That's what you were
that's
saying?
not what I
That's
was
a
gonna
lovely
say.
lady. You take
That's
whatever
not
you
what
get.
I mean. You get you
No, I
take
get
you
it.
just
So
go
glad you
get
don't
it.
have a daughter,
thank you.
Stephen.
I have real problems.
Right. I thought this was going to get not controversial. I think we just like
we just
burst
jumped
all
right
those
into
books.
it.
Yeah,
We
it's all
Immediately
over
went to
now.
a wave of dicks. It was,
We
I
started
thought I wasn't going to
5
work again
minutes.
before. Holy shit.
the show starts with wave of dicks.
yeah.
The waves of balls and dicks.
Waves of balls and
Waves
dicks.
and balls of balls and dicks. There you go.
Waves of balls and dicks.
No,
That'll
I
be
think the app should
Oh.
be the waves.
Oh,
Oh,
waves.
yeah.
The waves.
Because then you navigate.
W-A-Z-E.
Because then you can
You
be
navigate
like,
the
hey,
balls and dicks.
in 1.32 miles. Dick on the left-hand side. Like,
Do you? You're so funny. Do you? When you're looking at scripts and you're looking at projects and things to do, like, do you look for comedy that has the same kind of sensibility as you, or have you found stuff that has like spoken out to you that you want to do more than other stuff? Like, how do you pick what you do?
well, I'm glad you asked that, because for me, the thing is, like, I started so young, and then certain projects that I did at a certain age fell into the category of, like, heart, sweet, romantic drama, or maybe just drama, and then after American Beauty and Ghost World, I kind of hit that, like, sardonic tween. So I never really busted into the full romance category, right? But
Right.
because of that, I was always, like, after Ghost World, I thought, oh, okay. Well, then, at least now people know, like, I'm that's my thing. Comedy is my wheelhouse.
Right.
But it actually had the opposite effect. Everyone's like, oh, she's American Beauty and Ghost World. She's a dour little bitch. So they thought, like, oh, drama, just angsty teen, and then finding roles. I did embrace certain roles that, kept me in that realm, but those weren't seen as much. So I always felt like part of the problem was that I couldn't communicate whether or not I was full comedy or full drama. But as any comedian will tell you, like, comedy is half the drama, right? You need to be kind of a sad, miserable sack in order to be that funny.
Yeah.
And I never
Works for
really
the three of
consider
us.
myself that much of a. I'm empathetic. I'm a sad sack empathizer. And I relate, and I can see the world through that lens. So I always thought, like, oh, maybe comedy will be my thing. But it's been a struggle. And then I took a break from the industry in total. So now that I'm coming back to it, I felt like, oh, what should I go to? Should I signal that I'm full comedy or signal that I'm full drama? And I say better not to signal anything because I'm so open to all of the
like you're a
spheres.
very talented actress. You have the right to go and do either. And like, have you ever thought about doing TV? Like, does TV ever come up where you're like, oh, maybe I'd go do an HBO show?
Oh,
or
totally. Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I want to be the person who writes one and sells it to them. Like, maybe I shouldn't announce that. That's not too good, but.
Would you write a drama
That'd be
or would you
great.
write a comedy?
I would a dramedy. I would write I am writing a dramedy right now. I'm writing a half-hour pilot
Oh, that's cool.
right
awesome.
now.
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's in the vein of like a Entourage and Ballers, but it's focused on mental illness, and it's in that like upper world, you know.
Yeah.
Just like Entourage and Ballers, but fewer strippers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although mental illness could be a lot of strippers.
I mean,
don't know.
I
Could
like
be.
strippers.
Yeah.
I have got nothing wrong with strippers.
Well, with the lighting that we have today here at this location,
Where are they? I thought you said they were
we
going to be
we
here.
do have a few strippers.
I
We'll bring them
specifically
out.
asked
Bring
you
in the
before I
pole.
entered the room.
They are all Guatemalan dwarves, so they'll be here.
I think
later.
you're supposed to refer to them as little people.
Yes, little people.
They're no longer dwarves.
I'm very sorry to all the
Guatemalans?
Guatemalan little people
She
that are
was
listening.
in Dungeons and Dragons. She knows what she's
Oh
talking
God!
about. So.
All right, wait. Before we get into talking about Dungeons and Dragons, let's start. We're gonna do what IMDb loves that we do.
Oh, the
which
trivia
is,
yes.
thing? Okay, here we
let's go to first credit on IMDb.
And we'll see if it's actually the real first credit.
Okay.
We
Because
have
they're
to- we
wrong
have to-
90% of the
Often
time.
not.
Well, they don't do credits for commercials, though, right?
No.
No.
Okay, so I have to
this is-
treat it correctly.
So treat
Okay,
it
let's
correctly.
go.
So either movie or TV, and the game is called "Did IMDb Get It Right?"
Okay.
All right, and
let's go.
Mike, let's sing the theme song. You ready? Did IMDb get it right? Nice
I need to
addition, Thora.
harmonize with you
Very
guys.
Yeah.
nice.
Very nice of you to join in.
It says the first movie or TV show you were ever in was Purple People Eater. The plot was a kid plays the old novelty song Purple People Eater, and creatures actually appear. And it starred Ned Beatty. Was this and Shelley Winters and Neil Patrick Harris? Were you in this movie, and was this your first job?
This is correct. This is not my first job, but my first film.
Film
It was
or
an
TV?
independent film, and it was directed by a female by the name of Linda Shane. So it was like super.
Oh yeah.
It was on the fringe, but it was my first solid film credit. That is correct. And
Wow.
NPH played my older brother.
Oh
so-
my
Nice.
God, that's so crazy. That's fun.
And
It's
that's
weird.
pre How I Met Your Mother. This is like post
Pre
Doogie.
Doogie Howser.
Pre-Doogie Howser.
Which I
It's the
also
year
worked
before.
with him on
Okay.
while he was the doc on Doogie Howser. Like
Yeah.
I did a guest star on that
Yeah,
show
'cause he
too.
started that
Had a
show
broken
in
arm
What
or
89.
episode were you
something.
in? Okay, so you're a patient of his.
I was a patient. Yeah.
Okay, because I watch a lot of those because they still show them, and I watch Doogie Howser on
Yeah.
the weekends. 'cause
I had like a bruised arm or something,
Yeah.
which in turn meant that I had some horrible disease. And
Yeah, he's like,
I was
"Oh,
gonna
it's
die,
cancer,"
And it
and
was so
then you're gonna
sad
die.
because I
Yeah.
was so cute. Mm.
That was, here's a fun weird one for you, Thora. I visited the set of a TV show in 1988 on the Paramount lot. I went with my grandmother to a taping of Day by Day.
Yep.
That is a true fact. And you were a cast member on that show. How
True
weird
fact,
is that?
That's weird. Oh, wait, are you
So,
saying you
I
actually?
did.
You
that.
really were
I went
in
to
the
set.
audience?
I went to the audience and watched a taping, and then we went to Family Ties and watched a rehearsal.
Well,
of
you went to the
Family
better
Ties.
stage after. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
we
yeah,
went to your.
yeah.
We went to. We
You
went to
started
your
with the
set.
warm up act, and then you.
Hey, come on! You were on that show with Julia
It's true.
Louis-Dreyfus.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. That's true. Yeah, we.
Do you have
I
any
love
me-
Julia, and I have been like stalking.
And now she's the
everybody
vice
try to get
president.
on Veep and everything,
Yeah.
but I do actually I do remember there being a little rivalry between the two of us.
between Family Ties and
No, between me and
between
Julia.
you and
Really?
Julia.
Yeah,
What?
even back then,
How
yeah, because we had
old
a
were you
couple
at
of
the time?
scenes together, and her character was like Elaine on coke and steroids. Like,
Right.
Just like the super all about me, like, the ex-yuppie friends of the daycare runners who were they were ex-attorneys and they gave up their life of the 80s drive to start a daycare. And I was a sassy blonde who was like one of the students that came in who always gave everybody trouble, like always came back with like some smart comeback or whatever. Yeah. And I have a few memories from the show. Mainly, they revolve around playing telephone backstage with everybody, and then also working with Julia and her, like, I just remember it feeling like a battle between actresses, and I was only like 4.5, 5. I was 5 at this point, solidly 5.
That's funny.
At this point, and I remember feeling like, wait, there's some tension here.
So are we gonna?
I don't know what it was
You're
about,
like, but your character, if I remember correctly, was a comedy relief type character on the show.
Yeah.
And so was she. So, who are you going to...
Obviously.
Yeah, you're going to put two...
She can't let this little toe-headed brat come in and steal the scene, right?
Oh, yeah. Good luck.
I see it from her side, but...
Would you say that you were like the...
Yo, back up.
Are you the Betty
This is
Davis?
my line. I know the camera's on me now. They told me 4 times.
So you're saying that you two were the Betty Davis and Joan Crawford of 80s sitcoms?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That
no.
is something. That
Not
is
that sophisticated, but,
Yeah.
Okay.
getting there.
Now, did you how did your parents and you end up deciding for you to get into the industry? Like, how did
Hell
that
if I
start?
remember. I don't know.
You have no memory. Do you
I mean,
not remember how
I
it
know
started?
that actually the first person who took me around to auditions and everything was my babysitter and a close friend of the family. And if I do remember correctly, which she was like, oh, I would always mimic commercials. There was a no TV policy in my house, but my parents would leave the house and then the babysitter immediately put the television on.
Yeah.
And so I would just like go around mimicking like Telly Savalas from old car commercials.
Yeah.
Remember who loves you, baby.
Yeah.
Lauren Bacall from like Have and Have Not, because that was pretty much the only movie my parents watched apart from Casablanca. So like I just had all this weird cinematic and
that was-
commercial vocabulary and would go running around the house.
Was that here in
mimicking
Southern
it.
California?
Yes.
You're gonna-
Yeah,
okay.
I grew up in West Hollywood.
Okay.
On the east side of West
Yeah.
Hollywood to begin.
East
and
West
then
Hollywood.
at the West Hollywood side
Okay.
to finish it out. And because of that, she was bored. So she's like, fine, she's so cute. I'll take her to auditions, blah, blah, blah. And then I landed my first commercial. The first thing that I ever auditioned for. And it was, I was like 4, and the premise of the commercial was, what would kids do for unhealthy snacks? Because the commercial was for California raisins. And it was right pre the dancing
Before
animated.
claymation.
Yeah, before the claymated dancing raisins and all that. And all these kids were doing crazy stuff to get their hands on bad snacks. And I was kind of seated in front of an open refrigerator that had all its contents spilled out on the floor, and I had like a raw hot dog in my hand and like was dipping it into peanut butter. And I'm like, yeah, I'm hooked, man. This is great. I really like this. This is fun.
Yeah. Like so from a young age, you knew that this is.
I just loved what I was doing. I don't know if I knew anything. I just knew that I was having a great time, and I was asked repeatedly at different ages and at different points in my career, are you no longer having fun? Is it getting rough? And I always wanted to keep at least doing the acting part, and I couldn't fully communicate that there were parts of it that I didn't like, but then as I kept going, it just, for a long time, it just kept getting easier and easier for me to get jobs.
What is it you didn't like?
I think I didn't like seeing other kids that didn't want to be there. I think that bothered me because a lot of other kids didn't want to be there. And I'm like, hey, we're all here to party. It's so much fun. Like, how fun is this? And then some others would be like, don't play with her. Like, she gets all the jobs. And, it's weird. And then the other kids react to you differently. And like, that's why at least when I made friends going to regular public school, I was like, oh, okay, well, these are my real friends. When I go to work, which I thought wasn't work, I thought it was a party. Yeah. I'm like, those friends aren't your real friends. Your real friends are your real friends.
So you didn't have a stage mom or anything.
I mean, I wouldn't define it that way. I don't know how other people would define these things. I mean, I had super protective parents, but the only thing that I was ever told about auditioning and everything was like, yeah, just go in and be yourself. Just talk to them, shake their hand, say hi, like, because I think my parents always heard like, well, we just want her to come in and be the way she is. So
yeah.
It's good advice.
I guess that was good enough.
Do you still feel that way? Like when
No,
you go
that's
in,
not at all the way it is now. No. So that's when you're a kid, you can get away with that.
How is it now?
I have no idea.
when you go, do you go in for stuff still and audition?
Selectively, sometimes certain things. Yeah, certain things I'll go in for.
Yeah. We had I'll never forget. What's his name? Carl. Oh, I shouldn't even see. We should cut that out.
What?
One of the guys that I used to work with told me that he was now offer only and that he was only taking offers, and I felt like, and I was like, maybe that's how it works. And then I talked to Ed Begley Jr. And Ed Begley Jr.
Who was my dad on Parenthood.
Yeah. And he said,
be sure to recycle all your water.
That's exactly what he
solar
said.
panels.
Don't make fun of it.
No, he's amazing.
Don't make fun of it.
No, but he actually said, no. He's a friend. He's a friend of ours. He's a good guy. But he said, you're only offer only when you're offer only. Like when they
when they tell
offers.
That's the hard truth of it.
And that he goes, you don't
get
get to make that decision.
That's right.
That's a
Absolutely
decision
correct.
the world makes for you. He was like, I'm still auditioning for everything I do. Like we did a thing together just recently, and like a fun
internet
comedy
video.
sketch, internet video with him and me and Richard Ryle and all these other guys. And he said that he had just auditioned for Seth Rogen to play the dad in the new Future Man show. But he had already played a dad in the weed movie that they did, the Pineapple Express.
Yeah.
And it was
right.
So he was like, I have to audition to play basically the
same
role
character,
for the same guy, but you have to do that kind of shit because that's what they need sometimes.
I mean, it's just figuring out the politics of Hollywood is rough.
I can only imagine. Hey, I know we got a lot of artists and a lot of musicians that listen to the Nighttime Show and have been on the Nighttime Show, but I'll tell you what a lot of them are missing. They're missing merch, okay? And it is very easy to have an amazing merch store with Artist Shops by Threadless. Just add your art to hundreds of clothing, accessories, and home decor items in just minutes. Plus, it's fully customizable so you can make your shop totally unique to your style. But the best part is, here's the best part, it's 100% free to sign up. 0 minimums, 0 monthly fees. You even set your own prices so you can control how much money goes into your pocket. And with millions of dollars paid to artists to date, there is a lot of moolah to be made, okay? Artists, designers, podcasters, free up all the time that you'd be spending at the post office, shipping, dealing with customer service, and put it towards what you love, being creative, okay? Threadless takes care of the rest of it. And with 100,000 shop owners and 4 million users, just join the party. Head to artistshops.com/SKG to sign up right now. That's artistshops.com/SKG to sign up right now. Also, the Nighttime Show partnered with Threadless, so we have something amazing. You need to go check it out. We got mugs, shower curtains, T-shirts, sweaters, anything you can imagine. We have it for sale, Nighttime Show style. Go check it out. It's thenighttimeshow.threadless.com. That's thenighttimeshow.threadless.com, and check out our store with all of our cool stuff. It's so awesome. Let's get back to the show. Now, before we gotta get to we talked a little bit about parenthood. Okay. But did you enjoy doing that show? Was that a
apart from the fact that I got it was right around the time. It was actually during that show that my younger brother was born. And I remember running around the set, telling people so proudly, like, oh, we had the baby. My mom had the baby. And I was like, what? She's pregnant? I guess she carried a certain way, and people just thought she was, like, mildly overweight or something. Like,
wow.
They didn't realize. I'm like, are you stupid? That's when the beginning signs of my little nasty attitude came out. Like, you didn't know she was pregnant.
That's fair. Fair to be a little upset
Yeah,
that no
you
one's
know,
noticed over the last 9 months.
Yeah, that's a little. That could be a little.
But working
rude.
on the show was fun. I loved Ed. I loved all the kids on it. I remember going over to Ed's neighborhood. It was around right when the show wrapped. It was right around Halloween, and it was his spaceship home. With all the solar panel, all the amazing gadgetry.
Yeah.
And
No, he really
In
does
my
have
9-year-old eyes,
It's cool stuff.
in 1980, whatever it was,
Because
it was
he even has like a bike that generates electricity,
Yes,
right?
And everything
Yeah.
was like he was Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
It was so
Yeah.
cool. And he took us all out trick or treating, and I remember like everyone was wanting to know, like, well, is Leo gonna come trick or treating? Like, no, he's 15, he doesn't care. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, well, fine. But there was already this like on set amongst the kids, like this myth of like this Leo guy. Like everybody already knew he was amazingly talented and like destined for great things, and everybody wanted to like. There was already like this cult following again around him and everything. Like,
Did
it
you
was weird.
did you hang out with him at all? Or did you have any sort
I
of-
like to say that I really beat him at a squirt gun contest, but I don't. I think he won. But
It's fine.
so typical of him.
What kind of contest do you have with
It's
squirt
so
guns?
typical of
So
him.
typical.
Fucking
Is it like a
Leo.
quick draw contest? How do you have a squirt gun contest?
Well,
It's a good question.
Like, what's the
why are you
contest?
challenging me? on
I'm
this?
just
Yeah,
curious.
yeah,
I feel
why?
like I'm supplying testimony, and you're just like, what time was that? What
When
afternoon?
did it happen? When you? And who?
No, he won. He had the better Nerf
Okay.
outfit.
Well, he
so
just had better
then
equipment.
I went around afterwards and like tried to draw little flowers outside his trailer, just like say I'm sorry for trying to shoot you, and
Oh, it was a squirt gun.
with chalk. Yeah,
It was more of a fight than a.
yeah. No, it was a
than
war.
contest.
No, it
Okay.
wasn't a fight. It was
yeah.
a battle.
You had
Okay.
Battle
a full-on
extraordinary.
battle.
Yeah.
Talking about battles, Patriot games.
Oh,
How
yeah.
about that transition? Booyah!
Love it.
Yeah.
Patriot games. You, Harrison Ford, walk us through this.
All right, so
A couple of those Tom
We're
Clancy movies.
all massive nerds.
as am I a huge fan of Harrison Ford and always have been. Actually, when I was sweating as a 7-year-old auditioning for Harrison Ford, I was
Holy
like,
crap.
yeah, because I had watched Indiana Jones like
Yeah.
on repeat for 2.5 years. This was the only like thing that I could watch. Well, I mean, I saw other stuff too, right?
Yeah.
But
Right, yeah.
this was my thing, and so like I was convinced that he was like my uncle. Or like my replacement dad. Like
Yeah.
if anything happened to the first one,
Right.
I automatically get this one.
Yeah, sure.
Like
And
it's
then you
just-
did.
And then
Yeah.
and then it became like, oh, guess what? That guy that you love that you're always watching with the whip and we're always playing these games and everything. I'm like, yeah. They go like, well, they're doing a movie and you might be able to play his daughter. And I'm like,
Oh my
like
god.
instantly start passing out and like go into the auditioning process, like totally like just puddles of sweat, or nerves and like, and I never got over my nerves around Harrison Ford. I always did something totally stupid or completely embarrassing right around it because I could never get over like just being a fan. I'm like tattoo your name right here. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
like tattoo your name.
Tattoo your name.
Tattooing 7-year-olds. That's
That could.
Okay,
Wait,
all right.
against the rules
Well,
of
how
Hollywood.
old were you? You were 7 at the time? 7 or 8? Yeah.
when I auditioned, I must have been 8, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait.
so we shot the film when I was 9, Patriot Games. Went to London for the first time. Amazing. Oh my God, loved it. And I remember
That's got to be so fucking intense for a 9-year-old too. To have that kind of thing. I mean, because up to this point, you'd done TV and you'd done some movies and things like this. But I mean, to suddenly for the mind to process now being on a giant movie set in London with Harrison Ford playing your dad, it does take some adjusting. The brain does take some adjusting to make that jump.
I
You
think for me, it was always a series of having to make those adjustments on top of readjustments. Like getting to work with even, so when I first worked with Ned Beatty and Shelley Winters on Purple People Eater,
Yeah.
I had no concept of who they were, but it was other people around me talking about the fact like, oh, we have Ned Beatty and Shelley Winters.
You hadn't seen Deliverance at that point?
So we go back and we look at these films, and then that's when my film education started. And I started actually, even as a young age, started watching all the classics like Casablanca and this and that and the other. So by the time I actually got onto the set on like All I Want for Christmas, I already knew exactly who Lauren Bacall was.
Yeah.
And I feel like throughout my whole career, I've had a series of readjustment processes because it's always been like, oh, you may or may not work with one of your idols, a new idol or one that you've had for a while. And like you constantly have to prepare yourself for that. Yeah. I got so lucky to work with people that I was obsessed with. Yeah. Harrison Ford, Bette Midler, even Liam Neeson. Like sorry, Leslie Nielsen. Leslie Nielsen.
Who, by the way, was on the very first Arsenio Hall show. Leslie Nielsen.
Wow.
I looked that up today for some reason. I don't know why. But
what a great fact.
Yes.
All right.
Well, it ties in. I won't blow it for him because he's like wallowing in awkwardness here, and I kind of like watching it. So.
Matt, milk has vitamin D in it.
Really? Yeah, pretty good.
Hey, okay, to relieve the situation, I was on the Arsenio Hall show. Okay,
no, you were not. Were you really?
Yes, I was.
Oh my God, that's.
It was the only time I ever won mad props from my fellow classmates.
Yeah,
it was the only time I actually walked back into the classroom the next day, and they were like,
"What did you say? What did you say?
I didn't do that good. It didn't matter. I was just on it, and that was instant.
How old were you then?
10.
So was that to promote Patriot games? Was that around that time?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so go back, please.
Okay, but anyway, Harrison Ford is an amazing.
First time you met Harrison Ford.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I go into audition, and it's the producer Mace Newfield and the director Philip Noyce and Harrison, and they're all there, and I didn't know all the way that it was like such an important audition. I thought it was just like another audition I was going into. And I go in and I see Harrison. I'm like, oh, shit. Pass out, But then they say like, oh, okay, I did the scenes from the scripted lines that they wanted me to do. And then they go off topic. And then they're just going to go like, oh, okay, we're going to give you a scenario. And you don't have to say any particular thing, but we just want you to come in and act like, you're aware that your parents are in danger and that you might be kidnapped or that, one of them is going to get kidnapped. You're in danger. Like, we just want you to come in, bust through that door and fight for your life, basically. Like somebody's chasing you and your family and we want to see that.
Holy shit.
So I'm like very young. I don't know. Yeah. Looking back, I'm like, I don't know why they do that. But yeah. So I go outside the door and I'm like, phew, I'm sweating bullets. I'm like, this is my moment. All right, do this. Do what they told you to do. This is what you do. So like, I take a breath. I hold onto the doorknob and I'm like shaking and sweating. And I'm like, focus, focus, focus. You got this. And I bust in and I go through my hysterical crap and I leap onto the director's lap and I'm like clutching him and then I'm looking around fearfully and everything. And then they say, okay, cut. And I'm feeling good. Like, I'm on a high. I'm on a rush. I'm like, I nailed it. I did so great. And I look around, like, people are crying. I'm like, that ain't right. This is not going to work out for me at all.
Oh, no.
Like, why? And then, like, Harrison's, like, turning around. He's got a Kleenex in his eye. I'm like, what's going on over there? I couldn't totally tell, But Philip's like, anyway. So I leave the audition, and my mom is, like, freaked out. She's like, she could tell I've been crying. And she goes, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't know. Everybody's crying. I'm crying. Everybody's crying. What's going on? I don't know. And then it turns out like, oh yeah, she totally got the job. Like, it's great. So,
holy shit. Yeah. That's amazing.
Tears of joy.
So
that's
they were that affected by it that they were all
I don't
in tears.
want to say that. I just want to say that the whole thing was so confusing to me. I didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden I got the job. That's all I cared about. So
that's
Do you remember who directed that?
Yeah, Philip Noyce.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was like, Harrison Ford's my dad, always, for now, into the history.
Yeah, forever.
The future of the history. He's my dad. I'm all about this.
And you did.
And then again, he was your dad in Clear and Presentation,
yeah,
right?
well,
That's
continuing the same
Yeah.
characters.
Continuing the same. Yeah.
Now, did you just do the two of those together, or was there?
Yeah, we just did those two.
Okay.
That must have been insane. What a crazy experience.
I was I was trying to
too.
audition for the one that he did with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
With the Irish one. I was trying to audition to play one of his daughters in that one again. I'm just like, I'm the only daughter that he has on cinema history.
right?
That's it. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, later on, I understood.
Did you
it's a
audition?
crossover. No, I didn't.
Did you audition for Kylo Ren to play his?
The who?
For Kylo Ren to play
I
Harrison
don't-
Ford's son?
I don't know
Star
anything
Wars?
about Star Wars. I'm sorry.
Hey.
Two demerits, man.
I'm sorry. I know.
Two demerits.
I know.
Matt,
It's
you're down twice.
I do wear pleather at night, though, so that should save me.
Do you really? Wow. God bless America. Okay, now a lot of people have asked questions about Hocus Pocus. I'm going to pull one of those questions right now because it was an immediate fan thing that people wanted to ask about. So,
Okay.
This is from Savvy_Film Geek. Asked, my question is for Thora. If you were asked to return for a Hocus Pocus sequel, what do you think the characters of Danny, Max, and Allison would be doing in present day? What do you think their lives would be like currently?
I love that question. It's sad but true, but I think Danny, unfortunately, is like running the Sanderson Museum still to this day, like some obsessive lesbian that's running around the candle that's like, don't light it, bitches, you know. I think Vanessa and Max is dead because any good brother would die by now.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Oh my God. Omri Katz.
Hardcore answer. I like it.
No, only because I know he doesn't want to be in the industry anymore and he wouldn't come to the set anyway. So like I'm doing him a favor.
Oh my God, that's
You're
amazing.
going off-
I'm not being mean. Like I'm following a respectful protocol
Writing
here.
your script in a way where you're like, well, who do be
Right.
available?
Vanessa's like running Harvard, you know.
Yes.
Can't be brought back to Boston to save her life. So
I love it.
because she's in Cambridge,
God.
not Boston, for God's sakes.
That was a crazy movie. It's Kenny Ortega directed that film, and
Yeah.
you had you got to work with Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathy Najimy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with Bette.
Okay.
Give us a Bette Midler. Tell us
The Divine Miss M is very much the Divine Miss M. She taught me a lot about dedication and about from an early age without me realizing it. She didn't like sit me down and like explain all this to me, but through observation, I learned so much about the need for research and delving into a character and embracing it. She would have people follow her around with a medieval swear word dictionary so she could figure out like what kind of proper insults that her character would hurl
That's cool.
at people, having been alive only in the 1600s and stuff like that. So she was very great like that, tireless, put up with a lot in regards to makeup, hair, wardrobe, and in those days with all those flying sequences, that the harness thing was relatively new, and a lot of the FX processes we were using were new. CGI was new. It was all very new, and it was a huge set, and she had a lot to deal with, and so her dedication to her character was something that I definitely learned from, and I loved her because she sang to me, once or twice on the set. And
What did she sing?
great. Well, we were the only time I was ever in a harness because in one scene towards the end, they scoop me up. She scoops me up on her witch's broom, and for some of those shots, the lighting lead-in time was like 3 or 4 hours, but they had to have the actual actors up in those harnesses to light for them. It couldn't be a stand-in or this and that and the other. So we were up there, and at first when you hear about it at 9-10 years old, you're like, yeah, put me in that harness, I'm gonna go flying through the sky. And then like 2.5 hours later, you're like a little worn out and you're not so comfortable, and you're getting a little cranky, and you just want things to shoot. So she picks up on this and she starts singing to me Wind Beneath My Wings, because we were on the harness, and of course I think the whole crew thought it was more for them, but which I get, but for me it wasn't really that. It was more like she's just singing to relieve the tension, because it was a stressful moment for everybody. So
It's kind of amazing.
it was kind of great. I'll never
Someone
forget
singing
that.
their signature song to you. you know?
Yeah, without any musical.
Prompting
It's
or
pretty
anything,
great.
yeah.
It's just a couple of bars of it, but it sticks in your memory,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
That's pretty great.
What else did she sing when she was on set? Anything else?
She would hum along, she would sing, and then also watching her do the song for the film.
Yeah.
My name's Winifred. I put a spell on you.
Yeah.
But also one fun thing about that was I remember there being a huge debate on set about whether or not that would even be the number that she did, because I Put a Spell on You is a Nina Simone song with all of its contractual, rights history and everything.
Sure.
And they're like, well, we can't take that song. So she's like, oh, okay, well, let me redo it. And finally it was allowed to be used. But watching her perform it on stage, I was like, oh, it made me remember that Bet, as much as I kept seeing her as an actress, Bet is still Bet,
Yeah.
Betty,
Yeah. My
Bet is still
God.
Bet. And that I was like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's really what she does.
Wow.
Yeah.
My God. Okay, give us a little. We got to talk about Sarah Jessica Parker. This is like
I had a
this
crush on
is-
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah, dude. Sarah Jessica Parker in this movie was hot.
Yeah,
she was
everybody.
very hot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was good casting.
I mean, I didn't even realize how hot she was until I saw the film, and then she does her little thing on the broomstick with the "Come little children."
I know, and you're like,
All that, I'm like, yeah, I'll go with you.
Would you say that you're on Team Sarah Jessica Parker instead of Team Kim Cattrall with their feud?
oh, that feud,
Which is
between the
really
two-
an
that's a
awkward
bad
one.
feud.
I don't think it's a
between the two.
feud, right? Because they keep trying to act like it's not a feud,
Well,
but it is.
because Kim Cattrall's the one who posted on Instagram a thing like, "Hey, leave me alone, stop contacting me," and it was like a whole weird. You're like, "Oh, what? I didn't
Yeah,
even
'cause-
remember they were fighting."
Yeah, because Kim Cattrall's brother died.
Yeah.
And when her brother died.
I heard about it.
Yeah.
I read up on it.
Ugh.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know. Look, every.
I love Hollywood feuds. I can't.
I mean, he's a big.
I love when people fight.
he keeps me abreast of all the gossip in Hollywood. that
He
I
also
would
fights with
otherwise
me
not know
all
about.
the time.
Oh, constantly.
I'll
We
say
fight
this.
every day.
I'll say this.
Yeah.
I love Sarah Jessica Parker. She's like, and if I'm gonna try to be any of those characters from that show, I want to be like a mix between Samantha and Carrie, right? Like
Yeah.
a weird, odd mix between those two. I think it's their characters feuding, not so much the actresses.
Yeah.
That could be.
My girlfriend is a mix between those two women. 100%.
Yeah.
Because she has the.
I mean,
she
playing
has the
Samantha was
closet.
insanely difficult.
Oh, I'm.
Insanely difficult.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you
that
have
was
to be a
very difficult.
49 to 50 plus year old actress
Yeah.
who's like getting pounded up the ass, and I mean, it's difficult.
Yeah.
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 Thanks for acknowledging.
Unanimous
Have you,
agreement.
are you a Sex in the City? Did you watch Sex in the City?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, when when me and my girlfriend started seeing each other, almost immediately she was like, "I have to catch you up on Sex in the City," and then I had to watch
4 episodes that you hadn't watched.
good.
already.
Yeah, exactly. All 4 episodes I hadn't already seen,
Yeah.
but I had a really good Steve impression I used to do for her all the
Yeah. I
time.
mean,
Miranda.
hey, look,
I love you,
we
Miranda.
needed that show when it was out.
Sure.
When it first came out, we needed that show, Hardcore.
Yeah.
And so it will always hold a place in my mind as like a great show that came along right when we needed it.
Totally. Now, tell me a little bit about Sarah in that time period.
She was super sweet, really, really sweet on the set. Always really nice. One thing that I always remember is how much I build up my memories from the witches from that time, because the truth is we weren't on the set that often. They were always shooting our stuff when they weren't shooting the witches stuff, and vice versa. So
Totally.
we didn't actually get a lot of crossover time. But even now, I'm trying to like build it up in my mind. Like, oh yeah, no, I know Kathy was like this, and Sarah was like that, and Bet was like that. I don't remember. I don't know.
Of course.
I was 10.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We live in California.
Yeah, right. Tell me a little bit more about that movie, just because fans of that film, I mean, they're fucking
It's still
rabid.
to this day the best physical set I've ever been on.
Really?
The best. Yeah. I mean, we had a stage. Well, first of all, we did shoot some in Massachusetts, but mainly exteriors and this and that and the other. And then the witch's house and the surrounding area and the Salem graveyard and all of that stuff, that was all a build.
Whoa! Was that
on the Disney
on a
on the
stage?
Disney lot. Yeah.
Get out of here! In Burbank?
Yeah, over there.
What?
And
I thought that was all.
it was the best. I mean,
location.
they imported soil and dried leaves. I'm not kidding.
crazy.
Soil and dried leaves from other areas, just so they could strew it
To make it
along
look
the
right.
ground and make
Wow.
it look and feel that way. And I gotta
That's
say,
dedication.
It's still to this day one of my favorite smells ever. Like if I ever smell a certain combination of dirt, it always takes me back to that
Yeah.
set.
It's like that's production design to the next
Yeah.
level. That's
Next
amazing
level.
to do that. Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
You know,
Hanging around that witch's house. I mean, sometimes if we weren't shooting there on the lot, the crew would still go have lunch and then sit on that stage because the set was that great. They're like, we're shooting on another area of the lot, but we're going to go have lunch over here because it's awesome.
Yeah, fun fact, the script for that movie was actually written as a digital Disney Channel original TV show. Like a movie. It was originally going to be a TV movie, and then Disney executives were like, "This is too strong. This
It's
needs
too
to
good,
be a
yeah.
feature." And then thankfully it was because
Awesome.
it's still to this day it made it made a lot of money in the theater. People fucking loved it.
Not when it came out, but afterwards.
As it's been re-released.
Yeah, the
it is
re-release
made
On
is
video.
like, yeah.
Originally,
I know.
it.
I'm going to hunt down my residual checks.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm kidding.
That was one of those sort of like
You never get hired if you do that.
that was one of those like video store hits, wasn't it? Where like it had come out and then
Yeah,
it's like
it
the
was
next time
a-
around you're like, oh wait a minute, how did we all miss that this was a great movie?
It was a cult following thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it really was.
Kind of like
That's-
Now and Then, too. Now and Then was one of those. Like, it did okay when it was released. It did fine.
Yeah,
It did fine, but not up to expectations. And then now, when I talk to other women my age or a little bit younger or whatever, that's their one.
was a
And I'm
touchstone.
always surprised by
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Because I always expect to hear the Hocus Pocus bit, you know.
Yeah, no, but that was a big movie though too. I mean, that's Christina Ricci and Demi Moore.
Yeah, it's
Rosie
huge
O'Donnell. I
peeps.
mean, my God in heaven, that's a big one. And one of my friend Tamara Tucker just posted on my Facebook page. Please ask her about Now and Then, please. I want to ask you about it, but I can't ignore a film that touched me very deeply, that meant a lot to me as a young man growing up and trying to learn the lessons of the world. The film was Monkey Trouble. A young girl's life turns hairy when her new pet monkey turns out to be a trained pickpocket on the run from a scheming gypsy. You gotta tell
I
me.
think that's an offensive term now too, isn't it?
Who,
Yeah,
just remind me
you
again
could
who
never-
plays
Harvey Keitel.
There we go.
You got Harvey Keitel in Monkey Trouble. Tell me about this. We got to talk about this just a little bit. What
Okay.
the fuck is happening in
All
the
right,
world?
so I remember,
What's happening in your
I think
in
that's
your
what I
life?
wanted to know back when I was shooting that movie.
Was this straight offer at this point, or are you like after Hocus Pocus? Or are you?
I don't remember auditioning for Monkey Trouble.
Okay,
At
all right.
all. I remember reading the script. But then it was like, I think it was the Harvey Keitel thing and the producers. Oh, Ridley. That's right. Ridley Scott was peripherally involved. So I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do it, you know.
I'm gonna say no.
And then I remember also staying over at Harvey Keitel's rental house in Malibu, right on the beach, because I was supposed to be hanging out with his daughter Stella at the time, and I remember falling asleep and listening to. That was the first time when I realized, like, oh, this is a really good way to fall asleep, like listening to waves crashing on the shore and everything. But anyway, that's more personal. From the set, I remember him coming out of his trailer and being like, does this look scary? Is it scary enough? I want my daughter to watch this movie. The teeth the right way. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm terrified. You look ridiculous. No, it's very scary. Very scary, you know. But, and also then I had a tempestuous relationship with the monkeys because there were 4 different monkeys that I worked with. And
They kept replacing them because they were temperamental.
wow. I don't know. I mean, maybe sometimes I was temperamental. Maybe sometimes they were temperamental.
That's so funny. You know what? You got to imagine. How old are you at this point? You're
10.
You're 10.
11. No, I was 11.
I
was gonna say you had a rough 10.
Holy shit.
No, 10 was great. 11 was a little rough.
Well, yeah, then you're 11 years old, and then you have to go do press, right? And then this is where you gotta want to just punch everyone in the face, because then they're like, "Tell us about the monkey. Tell us about the monkey." Every fucking hour for hours and hours for
right
days.
After them doing that to me on the set as well, because they knew how pissed off I was at the 4 fucking monkeys.
Yeah.
Especially Shayna, which wouldn't listen.
Hey, Shayna,
Shayna the monkey.
Shayna, if you're
Finster-
listening right now,
Finster
go
wouldn't-
fuck yourself, Shayna.
Also, the 4 fucking
Finster-
monkeys has to be a new children's book by Thora Birch.
With Davey fucking Jones.
Finster, the most photogenic one and the best listening one to the trainers, was the best performing monkey. But we couldn't work together because he had a crush on me, apparently.
Oh.
And that was a problem. So, like,
Monkey
every time
crushes are
he was
Set
on
romance.
the set...
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to get into all of that, but apparently...
I think we all know what.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
know
we
what
all-
we know what he was doing.
what
Yeah.
Finster was up
This
to
guy,
when he got on.
this guy Finster. Let me tell you about this guy. All right, this guy Finster wouldn't listen to the trainer when he got on set.
This
And
might
Shayna,
be a Me
no,
Too
Shayna
story.
would listen, but she was like, "I'm not doing it while she's around."
My God. Holy crap. Yeah, this is yeah. All right, let's skip past Monkey Trouble. We're
Now, was it actually?
we
got too weird?
Yeah, no. It got exactly weird enough.
Okay.
We're in good place. Now and then. This is a heavier movie. It's got some more serious. Like, I mean, look, you've already done serious stuff, action serious, like Clear and Present Danger,
Sure.
things like this.
I already
But
lost
this-
my spleen. Now I'm over that.
Yeah. This was a big movie though, and it was like, and you got to hang out with Gabby Hoffman and who else was it? Moira. Was it Moira? No.
Morituri?
No, it's not her.
No?
Who else is in
That's
this?
all right. I can tell you the cast.
Yeah, please, please. It's Christina Ricci.
It's Christina Ricci, Gabby Hoffman.
Gabby Hoffman. That's who it was.
And,
You already said that.
And
Oh, I
yeah,
did say
and then also we had like there. Okay, so on that set, at first when I read that script and everything, I was like, yeah, finally I'm gonna get some girlfriends, some real girlfriends that know what it's like and all this.
Yeah.
And we get there, and it's the whole script and everything, the entire environment is all about like fostering how much we'll get along,
Yeah.
And it worked out a little differently. Prepubescent girls don't always do what you want them to do.
Yes.
But so there was tensions because of that, because I feel like there was a New York LA rift.
Oh yeah.
Even though I was the only one from LA. Ashley Aston Moore, the wonderful lady who played Chrissy, was from Vancouver. So we were like the West Coast girls, and I thought I was on the edge. No, Ashley was like the baller, all right? She was like the real hardcore one that had been through some things,
Wow.
And then Gabby and Christina come on, they're like, yeah, well, we're from New York, so...
Yeah.
But it was still fun, and I'll never forget all 4 of us like going through some in pretty fun experiences. It's just like what normal girls will do,
Yeah, totally. Did you?
And yet we're just being directed by Leslie Lincoln Glatter and Demi Moore, and
Yeah.
apart from all that, it's totally normal.
Yeah.
Were you around Rosie or
Yes,
or Demi Moore?
briefly at the beginning and the end, they all were around. Now I had already worked with Melanie on Paradise. She played the mother of my neighbor, not the mother. Anyway, we worked together, and she was wonderful, and I loved her. She was working with Don, her husband at the time, Don Johnson.
Yeah.
And actually, it was a remake of a French film. It was pretty cool. If Elijah Wood was my male co-star in that.
Oh, yeah.
If anyone
Yeah.
ever hunts it down, it's fun to check out just for cinema history.
Yeah, Paradise has got some great people in it. Don Johnson and Elijah Wood, and
It was a remake of a French film, Le Grand Chemin, and it was actually not a bad story. So we had already had that kind of I'm sorry, I totally got off track. What's going?
No, it's fine. We were talking about Now and Then a little bit and about Rosie O'Donnell. That was what it was.
There
Rosie
we go,
O'Donnell.
Melanie Griffith. I had already worked with her, and then so on Now and Then, I was very happy to be playing the younger version of Melanie Griffith, and then all these, Demi was always on set because she was producing it, and the other ones were Rita Wilson and Rosie O'Donnell and Melanie. They only came in for a few days here and there, and just for full disclosure, I thought that there was drama with the four of us kids working together, right?
Yeah.
No. When these four
The adults, yeah.
had to work together, there were some issues.
Wow.
And I remember Rosie was so sweet. She got sick. She ate at some fast food place and it didn't work out for her stomach wise. So, and then other people were trying to blame her for oh, she's sick. She couldn't do this. She couldn't do that. I'm like, I don't know. But she was the one that liked me the most. But then that caused problems with me and Christina because Christina was playing the younger version of Rosie. It just goes on and on. I can't even get into it.
All right. Well, we're going to jump forward a little bit to look. You have a weird credit on here. Anywhere But Here, which was Natalie Portman and Susan Sarandon, but you're uncredited on that. Why are you uncredited on that?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that one out too.
What does that mean? Does that mean that you were in it and they?
No,
didn't
I'm
credit
in
you?
it.
Yeah.
You can watch it. That's one way to go about it. I'm in it. It's just it was an uncredited. I don't know. At that time, the uncredited thing was a little bit more popular than it is now. It was a way of announcing that you're in a film without being yeah, but I'm too big to even want a position on it,
Got it.
because everything is credit position. Are you third position, fourth position? Are you getting a with or an and?
Yeah.
Of course.
And all of those things were taken, so it was more all right, fuck it. She's not even in the movie. And
that's what they did
if
with-
people recognize that it is her, great.
Yeah.
And that's all we care about. And it was something along those
They're
lines.
it's a
it was
surprise.
more like a representation.
I understand that.
My representatives at the time were you can't give her better than this, then we're not going to promote it. That's it. It's over.
Yeah, no. That makes sense. That makes
Act
a lot
like
of
she's
sense.
not even in the movie.
When
But she's got to be in the movie.
when they made this movie called Fur, which was a Nicole Kidman movie, it was before Robert Downey Jr. had become Robert Downey Jr. again, and so they left him uncredited as the. It's about how she falls in love with a man whose entire face is covered in hair, and he's like a wolf, has the Wolfman disease, and she falls in love with him, and then she shaves his face, and when she shaves his face,
They fall in love.
No, it's Robert Downey Jr. Under the fur, and he was in the fur acting opposite her the entire movie, and you don't know who it
It
is.
sounds like something he'd like to do.
Yeah, but it was before he had had
Before the
Kiss,
big
bang
comeback.
bang and all the big stuff to come back. But it was an interesting. It was just one of the other times I've seen that. Okay, so here we. Sorry, but I know that was a weird.
Somebody's been waiting just too long for this to come up. And I feel like it's finally getting rewarded.
He's very excited.
1999. You do American Beauty. This movie changed your life completely, right?
The script changed my life.
How so?
The film was definitely a life-changing experience, but the script first changed my life.
How so?
I was just entering this realm where you're leaving the child behind and you're exploring this adult that is to be in yourself. And I came across this script that had a character that was so boring and insignificant and useless in so many ways that I totally gravitated toward it. I saw the silent longing to be desired, the discomfort with society and the family unit in general. And there were just so many things that I related to. And I also saw that Alan Ball had written a script that was touching on so many things that no other script at the time was touching on. And that's just how I felt about it once I read it. Then after I read it, the people told me, yeah, dude, everyone in Hollywood has lost their shit over the script. It's insane. Everybody loves it. And by the way, DreamWorks, this new studio that's spearheaded by this dude named Spielberg, thinks this guy who's going to direct it is freaking awesome and like loves the script and is like fully behind it. So I'm like, okay. And go in, have a meeting with the creative team and everything. And super early on, they hadn't cast my dad's character, Lester, or anybody. Go in, and then like I don't hear anything for like 4 months. And they're like, oh, okay, come back, do some chemistry readings, this and that and the other. Anyway, just getting the whole job was like the hugest thing in my life. On top of the script having changed my life and awakening that knowledge in me of like the higher power of cinema, like how you can elevate yourself to an art and you're not just pure entertainment. You're like guiding and shaping and directing and changing people's worldviews and all that kind of stuff. Like really hippy dippy out there, like, in the clouds kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I got to be a part of it and working with people that I was huge fans of. I was a fan of Kevin Spacey and Annette Bening, and the writing and my character and other people on my team were like, oh, well, Angela is a great character. It's a great role, make you a big star and everything. I'm like, yeah. But really, Jane is where it's at for me, And so being on that set and working with those people is still a highlight of my life. It was a moment,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was, and it went on to,
Yeah, it's still a moment.
Because you'd been in some very good movies before that, and then you're in this one, and it's like this is like a film. It's like it's a different level. Because like that's basically an art house movie that went huge. Is the way I look at that. Like it's sort of one that could have been a movie that made $500,000 and would have been the exact same movie, but with the right push and the right people in it, all of a sudden it becomes
also
a
Conrad
huge phenomenon.
Hall, who gave us this wonderful cinematography. And
oh yeah,
granted, he himself wouldn't have been able to do that without the budget that we had, because indulging Connie is a very time-consuming process. But he made that movie, as did Sam, who was incredibly
sweetest.
But yeah, there's
ready
so
to
much.
go on day one. He just had a clear vision and was really steadfast in trying to bring that across in the way that he saw fit. So,
did you enjoy working with him?
I mean, I didn't enjoy working on the movie because I was
Kind of intense.
it was very intense. I mean, I enjoyed it in the sense that I love my misery on a really masochistic level. I was like, yes, it's the best thing I've ever done. Like bleeding out, you're not as thin as Mina.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. So,
is that one of those things where like you enjoy having worked on it more than you enjoyed actually working on it? Like when you look back, you're like, I'm glad I did that, even though it wasn't that fun to do at the time, but it's like a really big highlight.
I think when I first saw the film, that was to me the payoff. Like when I first saw it for the first time, not a lot of other people had seen it, just certain people working on it and this and that. And what struck me was that it was probably the only time where I read the script and then I watched the film and I was like, yeah, that's the movie we made. Every other time, it's like, well, we might not have made that, but okay. Yeah. It's good. It's fine. I'm happy. I had a good time making it. But that one was where like, we hit that nail right on the head. It got right in the hole where it needed to be. It was all perfect.
Holy crap. And then look, that movie pushed things in a lot of different ways for you too. I mean, aside from there being so much intense drama for you to do in that film, which there is a lot of heavy stuff that you have to handle in that movie. You're 16, right?
Yeah.
And is that
no?
right?
That's correct.
That's correct.
I know there's conflicting. Yeah, no. When we shot the film, I was 16. That's correct.
Right. So you're 16 when you make the movie. Your parents have to sign off on you being in the film because of
almost didn't. The scene almost got cut from the script. Now, when I was auditioning and everything, all my team or whatever, they all knew what it was, right? But again, some of my team was saying like, "Hey, go for Angela because that'll yield you more opportunities, whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, but Jane's my girl."
Yeah. So
then get the job, doing it, whatever. Then actually, like the studio comes and says like, "Oh man, I think we're gonna have to cut this scene because we've been flipping through this penal code here, and there might be some issues. I don't know.
Our lawyers have some questions.
Some questions. So they were going to pull it from the film, and I was like, wait, what? Are you telling me that I auditioned, went through all this shit to walk into something that I knew I was going to have to face, and now you're taking it away from me?
Yeah.
How dare you? And so because I was so like, I would say to Sam, like, no, this, you don't understand. This is what Jane would do. This is what girls like this do. Yeah. Especially the quiet ones, like, who don't have any other outlet. And it's not Snapchat and Instagram life. It's well before that.
Yeah.
So it's full of, like, insecurity and isolation. And, like, just if somebody pays attention to you, you're going to latch onto them, So I'm like, no, we have to do this. We have to do this. So then about 19 hours before I have to show up to the set to shoot the scene, they were finally like, oh, okay, well, your parents have to sign this thing. And then I go to them again. And, one of them's like not actually still totally in love with the idea. Yeah. And I got to convince them. I'm like, but I love this part. This is my part. Blah, 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 blah. So finally it all works out, and at least, my parents sign on to the thing. Mm-hmm. And then, again, it's going to get called off. And again, and again, and again. I'm in the makeup and hair room, like,
and they're still
having
debating.
them, like, powder the top part of my breast. And, and I'm, like, looking at it. Do I look good enough? No, not really, but I look all right. All right, we do this. Like, I'm all like a boxer. Let's go. I'm all glistening, let's go.
That's
and everything is because, like, Brooke Shields was nude in a film when she was like 12 or something, right? I haven't seen that movie,
like
but
14, I think.
Yeah.
But the laws change.
Yes,
We've done 89 episodes, something like that. Yeah, 89, 90 episodes, somewhere in there.
I was nude on like 4 of them.
Yeah, that's totally true. We've never interviewed anybody that has had to do that in a movie.
Really?
In 90 episodes.
Are you
Not
sure?
one person that we've never talked with anyone about having to do
Okay,
that.
that's true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we haven't discussed it.
Differentiation right
No,
there.
because Britt Robertson had to be nude in on a show on Girl Boss, I believe. But
I watched that.
Yeah.
Are they doing another season? Or?
No, they're not.
No, they did one and done.
Yeah,
which is surprising because it was supposed to be a really good show. I haven't watched it yet, but
she's very funny as well. You would have you ever met her before?
She seems like somebody I'd want to hang out with.
Yeah, for sure.
She's really nice.
Okay, so tell me a little bit. So Wes Bentley, who has agreed to do the show, and
you got to tell him I said, "Hey, what's up?"
For sure. Yeah. And we text every once in a while. We had the weirdest run-in ever.
Okay.
I was at Color Me Mine, the paint your own place.
Yes,
and I'm sitting there by myself painting like a vase as a present from my mom, and Wes Bentley is sitting at a nearby table with his kids, and they're like kind of
also
badly
painting a present.
They're
How
also
many does he have? I thought he only had one. How many does he have now?
I think he has one kid. Yeah. So him and his wife and the kid are painting, and I kind of go, and he goes, oh, yours is a lot better. I go, well, I am an adult. So like we started joking around, and we ended up getting caught in that like kind of fun thing that you can do in LA where you are stuck in a place and there's no one else in the room and it's just him and his wife and his kid and me painting, and we were talking the whole time, and he was so nice and he seemed like such a sweet guy.
I love Wes.
And he gave me his number and was like, yeah,
I'll
come
Wes.
do your podcast.
Wes was always a great rock for me on that set. He was great. I love him.
Oh, I'm sure. Like, really, really sweet guy. What about Mina? How did you guys?
Mina was wonderful. She was a roller coaster. She was very dedicated to Angela, and I respected her as an actress for having a very specific and yet also reliable approach to her character, because she was just somebody who was willing to collaborate, but then also guide the role in the only way that she knew how anyway.
Yeah.
And she was somebody that had a lot going on at the time. She was 19 when we were making the movie, and I like half looked up to her, but at the same time half judged her, which is what like a 16-year-old would do.
Sure.
But yeah, no, she's a sister of mine. You know.
That's really cool. That's great.
Was that before or after the cheerleader movie where she robbed the bank?
It was. Well, no, she was in the American Pie series, which was the thing back then.
Okay.
Yeah.
That she was. I mean, actually, Sean William Scott had a day role on American Beauty.
Oh, really?
And yeah, he played like some guy who came up to us at the high school that we were attending and like said some weird shit, and we both made fun of him and everything. But that ultimately didn't make it in the film. But I remember I was instantly jealous that they like already had this
connection,
repertoire between them for having worked on it, and I just saw Sean William Scott as like a jackass from back in the day. No, I didn't know who he was because the movie hadn't come out yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I heard that, this movie's coming out, and we just worked on it together and this and that and the other. And I just thought, like, well, this guy's a clown. Like, you know.
Like, and that's why he's working, but that's exactly what they want, yeah.
Now, in the script, they go past Burnham's death to the trial that happened afterwards. Did you guys shoot any of that?
We did. We shot the trial, and we shot some of the result of the trial, which was me in a holding a facility and Ricky in jail, prison, not jail, prison. And so, it went in a whole other direction, and that was in part guided by the, remember the au pair trial of that era? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Kind of shooting the trial stuff based on that kind of thing, the au pair trial.
Will we see that footage in American Beauty 2, Caged Heat? No.
God, I hope not.
Wait, is that
prison movie?
Is that what I'm supposed to be writing right now?
Yeah,
a prison movie.
Writing that
prison movie about your character still in jail. Yeah.
What about Annette Bening? It's okay to.
I love Annette Bening.
Did Warren Beatty ever show up to the set or anything, or
not on set?
Okay.
Not on set, but he's like, anytime you get around him again, that whole thing, like, because I know about Warren Beatty, you know, like, I'm going to pass out, man. This guy just walked in the room. Like, it's time to, Hollywood royalty, just like.
You know the sad thing?
If I was Kate Middleton and all of a sudden, like, Henry VIII walked in, I'm like, that's it. I'm
like,
going
that's
to blow
the guy.
my brains out.
Here's the sad thing. There are people out there right now that only know Warren Beatty is the guy who announced the wrong winner of the Best Picture. Like, that's all they know from him. Like, that's so crazy to me.
Dude, he's going to be Dick Tracy for me for forever.
For me, it's
mostly,
Bugsy, but
Bugsy was so great, too.
Well, we're, like, all about the mob mentality.
Yeah.
And
my
hood,
Oh, hell yeah.
All about all the gang style movies, so.
West Hollywood Hood? Is that the? I'm just. I'm talking.
No, that was deserved.
It's a different mafia there.
That was deserved.
Did you go to Hollywood?
Hey, Mickey Cone, mother.
Did you go to Hollywood High School?
I went to West Hollywood Elementary School. I went briefly to Fairfax High, and then during high school, I had to go. Yeah, I had to leave and just do I was working so much that I had to do the Laurel Springs
on-set
route, which is
tutor thing. Yeah.
Not so much on-set tutor. It was more of a charter school for young athletes who were training to be in the Olympics and everything, and their grade standard is held a lot higher. So I went to that one. So
did you meet other people that were like going for do you know anybody that wound up in the Olympics?
Yeah, it was a correspondence, but they would have you would have to go in for twice a year or whatever, and then but it wasn't really to go meet other students. It was more to confer with your professors.
Sure. But did you meet Tara Lipinski or something like that?
No, but a couple of them went. I think a number of them went there. But then also I remember a couple of years later, I read that Jennifer Love Hewitt graduated from that school. I was like, well, see, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really funny.
That's the qualifier.
Yeah, that's what qualifies the school.
See, it's fine.
Jennifer Love Hewitt went there. It's fine.
What are you kids worried about? Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Don't do it.
Okay, so hang on real quick. I'm going to make this a marker on the show. Okay.
All right, we're at an hour and 11 minutes.
Okay, we'll wrap up soon. But this is a marker. I'm going to ask you a question. If you're not down with it, it will cut it out.
Okay.
It's no big deal.
Okay.
Okay. The lead actor, the guy who starred in American Beauty,
just say his name.
Was
Lester
Well,
Burnham.
his name was Peter Gallagher.
Formerly known as.
I'm just. No, it's okay. So working with Spacey at that time in that movie what was that experience like working with him? I mean, that I know that things are in kind of a tricky place.
So
at the
imagine
moment,
you enroll at like your first acting school that anyone actually thinks is important, like Juilliard or whatever.
Yeah.
Imagine you enroll in Juilliard and by some hook or crook, you get accepted into Juilliard and it's your first day. Mm-hmm. And your teacher's Kevin Spacey. Mm-hmm. Or it's Kaiser Soze. Or Indiana Jones. Or any of these guys. And you're like, I got this. Mm-hmm. I can do this. I can compete. You know, I'm ready. I exercised. Mm-hmm. I'm fine. I got this. And then you get there and you just like it's 2 parts fascination and then like 1.5 part. Wait a minute. I'm here for a reason. Somebody thought I should be doing boxing round number 1 with this guy. So let's go. Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so you go into there thinking like, oh, that's it. I'm going to show them I belong here. I can hold up or whatever, you know, and then you sit back and because it's taking so long for the lighting or whatever, you realize like, well, hold on a second. I got to sit here and I got to act beside Kevin Spacey, who I'm already a fan of from Usual Suspects and some of the other films he did. Was the other one Swimming with Sharks.
Yeah.
And Annette Bening, who I love from Bugsy and a whole bunch of other things. And I'm like, oh, okay, you're playing their daughter. And I can't do anything other than just try to absorb and watch. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then you realize, like, well, you're just being a lazy actor at this point. Like, get your shit together and go in there and bring it. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's bring it. So it becomes a weird sort of dance in which I felt like I was both learning from and just trying to keep up with
those people.
Van Goghs and Diego Rivera's and all of that, you know.
And you're still a Color Me Mine at that point.
Yeah,
That's gotta be kind of mentally exhausting. And I know, like, after doing that film, you go on to do Ghost World. Is Ghost World like a little bit of a relief of a film to work? Like, did you have a fun time working on something like that? Because you look like you're having a good time. I
laughed so much on that set. I think maybe sometimes half of the laughter was out of relief, and then the other time was just because everyone was freaking hysterical on it. I mean, working with Dan Clowes, the creator of the graphic novel and the co-writer of the script, and Terry Zwigoff, our wonderful director who had this perfect. I mean, he is Seymour basically. If you wanted to know like who directed Ghost World, I would say, well, Seymour did. And just having them around kept me laughing all the time. But at the same time, I was going through a lot. I was riding out the success of American Beauty as we were shooting that, so I was very much trying to distance myself away from the fact that I had to leave set and like go try on an Oscar dress, while still embracing this new character that is more reflective of my internal life than any other character I had ever played. You seem more like her than any other character. She's my that's me, you know, like my internal life anyway. And so trying to be respectful to her character and then also go off and play a different part of myself for Hollywood was rough. But I think having to do that while I was playing her actually helped, honestly. Yeah, I get that. And as far as having somebody like Scarlett to... Right. Well, I was terrified of Scarlett because she was from New York and like 3 years younger than me, and she was already way ahead of me streetwise. Like, she had not a drop of innocence in her, and I'm like, what? I'm still there, like trying to get somebody to ask me out, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm like 7.5 pounds overweight. This shit ain't gonna work, you know. And she's just like, Hollywood, fuck that. I got it.
I really wish everyone could have seen
Okay.
That was so fantastic. My God. Did you like I know you've brought it up a couple times. Has like body image been something like as far as something that you?
I mean, I feel like everybody goes through it. Yeah. Men, women. It's just
not me.
No, I just mean
I'm totally
in
kidding.
the scope of the acting thing.
Of
like,
course,
I mean, you were talking about Ethan's. You were talking to Ethan Suplee, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, well, when I lost that 170 pounds, am I really like that? I was able to do
after his flight with Jesus."
Yeah.
No, that's
no. Like I at one point I lost 115 pounds and dropped from 390 to 2 something, and my manager went, "Well, I don't know what I would do with you now. I don't have any
right." And I feel
jobs
like
for you.
That you
And I was
having
like, well,
that
what the fuck am I
anxiety about 150 pounds is valid. I feel like me having that anxiety about 12 pounds is maybe not valid, but the camera does that.
It's all valid.
It's all valid. I'm saying
it's all about
like
how you feel.
No, it's well. That's I mean. Okay, so me talking about like a 15-pound difference, that I'm not gonna like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not trying to compare the two. What I mean is that like
no, I know I'm talking about the comparative scale.
Yeah, please.
Like you shouldn't be faced with that. All I'm saying, I shouldn't really be faced with that.
You should absolutely not,
especially not if we're talking about a disparity that's way less. Then it's just not. It
But it definitely
happens. It happens.
Totally.
Do you?
But I just always. I don't feel like at the end of the day, I'm always trying to fight against like, oh well, if you do this kind of role, then that's the role you do. You do that and that's it. And I think a lot of actors that you guys have on, they're always trying to talk about like, well, once you do a role that everybody knows you for, you're going to get a lot of offers for those types of roles again. So
now,
that happens.
Do you enjoy watching yourself on screen, or does that bother you in some way?
No, I don't enjoy it. I would say I check in on myself from time to time because I feel that that's a necessity. But then once I start doing that, I realize like, oh, I'm not checking in on myself enough. So I get really self-critical, and after a while, I just don't know what to think about any of it. So I will watch something that I've done once or twice, and then I put it away, unless it's something like Hocus Pocus or Now and Then, in which 17 years down the road, you can be like, oh, hey, I'll check it out.
Totally, I totally get that. I know you've dipped your toe into the voiceover pool and have done some animated shows and stuff. Do you enjoy that?
Oh yeah,
like
got a face for radio, baby.
Oh, stop it! That's hysterical. Do you? Is it something that you like? What about it have you enjoyed? Like doing that kind of stuff?
I think it speaks to me because me and my brother have a shorthand where we're the only two people that I know that have probably seen the same exact films the same exact number of times.
Yeah.
Even though we're like bi-coastal and haven't seen each other in a while or whatever, we'll always compare our notes on films, right? So every time we get on the phone or whatever, it's always like he'll go into one voice and I'll go into another voice. And I think maybe it's a continuation of the imitating commercial things that I've always done.
Yeah.
Like we're always trying to best each other with our imitations of films. So we'll just keep repeating the same couple of lines from Casino over and over to monitor who nailed it better. No, I'm more Pesci today than you are, motherfucker.
I love that. That's so great.
So I think that's why I like the process of voice work, because it's similar to just get it down, just get it down.
Mike and me have this thing that we do, and it happens more often than not. Is if Mike, I'll call Mike on the phone, or he'll call me on the phone, and I'll answer, and then or he'll answer, and he'll just go, Larry's potato sack, Larry's potato sack sandwiches. How can I help you? And then we'll just do that. We'll just do a scene
until they either make each other laugh or.
I feel like I'm devolving into some sort of teenage hoodum, even worse, because I've caught on to ownage pranks. .com on YouTube. If you
What
guys
is
know about
this?
this, oh my god, it's
Explain
the
it.
penultimate like prank call YouTube app channel. Or it's not an app, I guess. It's just a YouTube channel. OwnAgePranks.com. This guy does the best prank calls. Like, okay, you can only watch a few at a time, right? But
Right.
he's got all these different characters. And he's like professional. He'll draw them out for months. Like he'll just call and then not call him, and then like 4 months later call him again. Like this guy is extensive, right?
Yeah.
I
So
respect.
you like
this.
phony phone calls? Like that's a thing?
Well, I
you're
used to
into?
make them all.
Oh yeah.
Because we had
Granted, I had good numbers to go to.
we just
right?
had
Like,
we just had on Jim Florentine, who was on Crank Yankers, and he was known for doing the terrorizing telemarketers. That was his.
Yeah.
Where he would like
Those
sign
are
up for
good.
lists and
Yeah,
get
he
people to
does
call
those.
him.
Yes.
And
Those are really fun to do.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Also, like he
Oh,
goes,
yeah.
he has a series of like Walmart employees that he'll go around messing with, and then also you can write in some suggestions.
Okay.
And then if you're lucky enough, like, oh, you got the golden ticket, you'll pick your story and like
Oh,
do a prank bit
Has he
based on
picked one of
something.
your stories?
I'm waiting to find out. I dropped a couple of beats of inspiration in his
hysterical.
pond. I hope he takes them up.
I love it. I hope he does too. And if he's listening, please.
I hope he picks your story.
Please
on,
pick the
Ownage.
story. You're in a movie currently that I spoke to some folks from this film, The Competition, which you're in with Chris Klein, who was in American Pie. What? See, everything comes back around.
It's all American, baby.
It's all American. People love that. Tell me a little bit about the film. You want me to read the synopsis?
Yeah, no, it goes on forever. That's good. So, all right. So I play. All right, this is a small independent romantic comedy that we did up in Portland, Oregon. Is not it's a modest budget.
Yeah.
And Kelsey came to me. The Kelsey Tucker, the writer, producer, came to me and was like, "Oh, would you play this type of thing?" And I never really delved into the romantic comedy world too much because back when they were the most popular things, I was more of a spectator and not really like I was still too much of a critic to want to engage in any of those kind of things. But I was like, "Oh, okay, try it. You watch them. Don't be a hypocrite. Do one."
Yeah.
So we work on the script for a little bit, and it goes away, and then she comes back to me, and she's like, "We got to shoot now or never." And I'm like, "Oh, no, what do we do?" And I'm like, "Well, we need a guy. All right, where's the guy?" And then Chris Klein comes into the conversation. I'm like, "Hey, I love Chris. We've known each other for a while. We're supposed to work together at one point. Didn't work out, so here's our opportunity." And we do it, and we just basically shoot up in Portland, which I love.
Oh, yeah.
It's gorgeous.
That's a great
It's
place
a
to shoot.
beautiful, beautiful, it's a fun town, like really, really great. And also the type of weather that I love. Coming from Southern California, it's like always half misty and raining up there anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, totally. We'll do it. So we get up there, we just have a great experience, and then by some hook or crook, we managed to get this film into like a 10-city release, and that happened a month or two ago, and it was a fun ride. It was great to finally work with Chris and to support a female writer producer who basically was a lawyer up in Portland and woke up one day and said, "You know what? I'm gonna make a movie." And I'm like, "Yeah, I like that attitude. Let's go do it."
That's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
I always like those stories like that. Like when we had Walter Koenig on, he talked about he was doing like an independent movie where some guy just like he was a lawyer and he saved money and he's like, "I'm gonna make a movie. I'm
Yeah.
gonna put Chekhov in it."
Or what's his name? The
Oren
guy from-
Peli
Oren
from-
Peli, the guy who
Another-
created
Paranormal Activity. He's just
Paranormal
like, I'm
Activity.
just gonna make a movie in my spare time, and
was-
then
Yeah, it's
He just
becomes
worked at a
huge.
tech company and saved up his money and was like, "I'm going to buy a camcorder and
And
like
now
learn
they're
how
all
to make."
doing it.
That's how it works. But what do you anything coming up that you're excited about, or anything that you have coming up that
Besides
you're
the script you're writing right
yeah,
now.
besides the script that you're writing currently?
besides your dramedy,
One
which
that I
I'm
already
looking forward
wrote,
to
and one that I'm writing now. But anyway,
Yes, please.
no, I would say I'm very excited to have the world introduced to this film that I did called Above Suspicion with Emilia Clarke, the mother of dragons, in the lead.
Yeah.
And it's a true story based on the only time that a federal agent was convicted of committing murder.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And
and
he had a little not too frowned upon affair, not too frowned, or either way. I don't know these
knows?
days. Who knows? You be the judge. Not too frowned upon affair with the star witness, and he winds up killing her. And so the movie's a little bit about that. And I play her older sister who's like trying to stop her from going down this life of pitiful crime.
Oh my
that
God!
she's
And it's
That sounds cool.
Philip Noyce.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
all comes back around. Yeah, very good.
Oh, full
that.
circle.
Very cool.
Okay.
Not too frowned upon question there.
How about that? How about that?
How about that?
How about
Coined a new
that?
expression.
How
Cash
about
me
that?
outside. How about
I
that?
like it.
Hey, so we have another couple fan questions for you, Thora. This one's from on Facebook, Sahid Hafizi,
Okay.
and he asks
What's that name again?
Sahid Hafizi.
I thought you said Safid.
Sahid.
Okay, there you go.
It's Sahid Hafizi. He says for
How do you
Thora.
spell that?
So clear now.
Hey, for Christ's sake! This is what he said.
Sahid Hafizi.
For Thora Birch, how do you practice your acting method since you were little? I mean, how do you do it? I know that you won Young Artist Award for Best Young Actress. Do you have special training? So
If you have training is a common. If you've had training is a common question. Supposedly, I should have, but I started so young that I just I never really went to acting class or acting school. I think I just kind of trained on the job, basically. And in regards to methods or an approach. I've spent time trying to figure out if I actually have a singular approach or a method, and in reviewing how I've tackled certain characters, I'd have to say that it depends on the character, and it also depends on the other people that you're working with, because that's a high influencer. I mean, some directors will give you homework. Others will just wait for you to show up and kind of show them what you got.
Yeah.
And it varies depending on how much I actually relate to the character or not. Like if I relate to the character, I tend to get a little on the lazy side and just do it more instinctively. If I don't necessarily relate to the character 100%, then there's a little bit more of like a look at the socioeconomic background of the individual, like what their home life was like, and filling in all these things that aren't necessarily really revealed through the plot, but just through me trying to inhabit their skin. And then sometimes you have a lot of guidance in that area, and then sometimes you don't, and you just gotta fumble around. So I don't really have a consistent methodology, but there are always a few tricks that one keeps in their bag for a rainy day.
That's really great. That's great. We do have another question. This is from Ecuador. Deus, his name is Deus HB, or at Genis _HB, asked Thora, what is the best kind of ice? He has
This is sounding like a highly loaded question.
No, he has the correct answer here.
I've got an answer.
It's multiple choice? Why didn't you tell me it's multiple choice?
He has an answer listed. I just want to see if...
What is the best ice? Okay.
What is the best ice? So we're talking about different forms of ice that would go in your glass. Yes.
Ice. Mm-hmm. I would think that the best ice...
This is for all the money.
...is definitely... has definitely fallen from the sky and has lasted longer than we'll be liberal. Lasted longer than a full night and made it into the daylight sun.
Ooh.
Oh, so you like snow. Okay.
That's what you got out of that?
Wrong.
No. I was going
the
full on
correct answer-
esoteric.
Would you want to read
Thor,
the correct
the
answer?
correct
Read
answer-
the correct
Okay,
answer.
oh, I
Correct
got it.
answer
I
is...
failed.
Well, he's correct there because the correct answer is crushed ice.
crushed ice
Crushed ice
is
is the best.
actually
Oh,
the
you said
correct
for a
answer.
drink? What the
Followed by
heck?
pellet ice.
For a drink.
For a drink? You didn't say for a drink.
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
just- it's the
sorry,
best ice.
Thora,
I was going to
you
answer
were-
dry ice.
Dry ice?
No, you
the
can't.
best.
Dry
Get
ice will
the fuck,
Kool-Aid.
Mike,
kill
get the
you.
fuck out of
You
here.
throw what? No, not to drink, but if you put it in a beverage, it looks cool as hell.
Yeah, it looks
cool,
cool,
but
then
it'll
you're
kill
gonna
you
be
if you
like,
ingest it.
If you ingest it.
Hey, I'm confused.
Okay, I got another question for you. This is from Aria of Winds. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Aria of Winds. She's writing from Japan. Her name is actually at Yuki_Okami_. And her question is, who is the worst person you've run into recently?
Oh,
I know. Okay.
It can be anyone. It doesn't have to be famous.
Well, I didn't physically run into them.
Sure.
So it might not count. But I wanted to because I was driving along Santa Monica Boulevard, right by the 405, right? And you know that area.
Yeah.
Anywhere along the 405, pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Headed east, west, what have you, right?
Yeah.
So I make the approach to the intersection. A law-abiding citizen on a relatively low traffic hour. And all of a sudden, this guy comes along and has this super spiffy kind of zip-up jacket because it's a little brisk outside. And he's pushing along a cart, and behind him is some woman who looks like she just got back from Pyeongchang. And they're moving really slowly across the street, and there's not a light or an intersection to be found.
Jesus.
So naturally, I have to do that little LA thing where I scream out the side of the window, "There's no fucking crosswalk here!" And they turn and look at me like, "Oh, accusatori," all right, I guess I'm the bitch in this situation,
No,
I
you
guess
are
that's the worst
correct.
person today. Okay,
that was a correct answer.
Oh,
Thora.
thank you.
Correct answer.
Finally happy to
20 points.
I absolutely love it. All right, we got one last question. This is from James Thomas, at James Thomas, who is here in Los Angeles. His question is: can you do your best impression? Do your best. Can you do an impression?
Am I supposed to judge which is my best impression? I don't think that's possible.
What do you think is your best?
Somebody else has to
we can
judge.
judge. We can judge. How about you? Do you have any impressions? Do you do
all
any
your
impressions?
and we'll pick
I don't.
the best.
I used to have a couple that were like the standard go-tos, but now I think I'm a little bit. I actually feel like I maybe am Joe Pesci or something like that.
Well, we want to hear your Joe.
Who's this guy? Who's this guy? You don't know the movie?
Yeah, of course.
What movie is it?
It's Goodfellas.
Oh.
No? The Outsiders.
No, they're walking along the parking lot.
That wasn't a Joe
Joe
Pesci
Pesci's
movie.
gotten kicked out of Vegas.
Okay.
He's running out of the restaurant. He's running his shtick out of the restaurant.
It's
He's got
Gone
kicked out of
Fishing,
it.
Stephen.
Is it Gone Fishing? Is that the
Y'all
movie?
are just making
Daniel
fun.
It's Casino.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm the worst person. Well, this is these were.
I should have had a toothpick of it. Okay, here we go. If I have a straw.
okay.
here, then.
Yeah, do it.
Who's this guy? Who's this guy?
Now,
Wow,
can you get
that
this-
is that's it. That's from I know the movie now. It's Casino.
I mean, I know Rich Little is no longer with us, but I think we found a worthy successor.
I think so too.
Did he die?
Like 30 years ago.
No, he didn't die 30 years ago. He died like 3 years ago.
All right, I'm going to Google it
I'll
later.
bet you on it.
All right.
TBD.
Anyways,
Wait, that's a good question. Is
Yeah.
Rich Little dead?
no, don't ask her that question. Well, I absolutely love getting to sit down and chat with you about this. I mean, about your career and your life and everything about you. But I would be remiss if we ended this without.
It's just
No,
remiss.
it's
just
I didn't want to
remiss?
go there,
Yeah.
but you beat
Yeah.
me to it. It's just
I would
remiss.
just. What did I say?
Remiss.
I
not
would be.
remissed.
I
You
would
said
be.
remissed.
What
Okay,
should I
let's
say?
Like
too
past
many
tense.
minutes on this now. Let's go. Remiss
Remissed
got
or-
it. Yeah, let's go.
it's remiss.
I would be remiss.
You both are fired. I'm kidding.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask about
Stephen,
a film
Go home.
that a lot of our friends have bugged me about. Everyone wants to know about a movie that you started with Jeremy Irons called Dungeons and Dragons. We have to talk about it just quickly.
Yes.
You have to tell us a story about this
I'm happy
fucking
to talk about
crazy
Dungeons and
movie.
Dragons.
It is. I mean, dude, people.
How many multi-sided dice do you own right now?
do it?
I think I just stole some skeletons from the Skeleton Cathedral in the Czech Republic.
you really?
No,
Wow.
I went there though. I walked in the catacombs. You know.
Oh my dear
Awesome.
God.
I'm not kidding. Don't laugh. Spooky shit.
You got to tell me about this movie.
Okay, so it was right after we wrapped up production on American Beauty. And I mean, the set was just a buzz. Everybody's calling me like, oh, we want to take a meeting with the people who are cast in American Beauty and this and that and the other, like all this anticipation about it coming out. I'm just like, I don't know, what am I going to do next, you know?
Yeah.
So I get this random script sent to me, and to be fully honest, I can't read it. I mean, I keep trying. I can't get through it.
Can't make it.
Focus on your character, you know. So I'm like, oh, okay, what does Empress Savina do? I'm like scouring the page, and I still can't put it all together. But at some point it says you will be riding a dragon, and I'm like,
Yeah, I'm in.
all right.
Yeah.
And then they call me up and they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, it shoots in Prague, Czechoslovakia. I'm like getting out my atlas. I'm, what the fuck is that? and I hear about it. I'm like, yeah. Place Hitler didn't bomb. All right, let's go. You know, like,
Right. Yes.
you know,
That's
I'm
the
like,
selling
okay.
point for Prague.
Get to
Hitler
ride a
didn't bomb us.
dragon.
Yeah.
But a city Hitler didn't bomb in Eastern Europe.
Yeah,
You
there we
learn
go.
about real life communism, you know, not the
sure.
bullshit socialism I've been indoctrinated into.
Right.
It's the homeland of Yarmir
And
Yager.
then I get there and they're like, right, you need to step into this like abandoned government warehouse. And I'm like, yeah, cool, because what's going to happen in there?
Yeah.
And they have like this tiny little ancient woman and she comes in, she starts measuring me. I've never had a costume built around me. It's always like, here, try on this t-shirt.
Yeah.
Here's your jeans, you know?
Yeah, right.
She's like, oh, your neck. And I'm like, never felt so conscious about my measurements in my life. But she's like, oh, okay, well, loosen it up here. You know? She's holding up like chain metal to me. And I'm like, starting to feel really good.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, yeah, I feel some empowerment coming. You know?
Yeah.
Give me those cuffs.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like a Xena warrior
shit.
princess
Yeah,
type
no, but
outfit.
but they're also like,
so-
be soft.
Yeah.
You know, and be nice, and like you just want peace and all of this stuff, and then they've
Here are
got
your swords.
right. There's
Your
a scepter
swords.
that you're dying to get back, and I'm like, wait, a scepter, rod, all these lines I have to keep saying. I'm like, I want that rod. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's like, what channel is this gonna be on again? You know. But I had a blast, and working with Marlon Wayans was
Oh my
2 tons of
God.
fun. Like. And Jeremy Irons, like I felt like the more I tried or was convinced to go low and subtle, the more he's like, let the blood rain from the sky. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, what the fuck did he eat?
He's making a
last
whole
night?
other movie.
Like, I'm gonna get
Yeah.
some.
That's a
I didn't hear
fun
about
movie,
that
though.
restaurant. Tell me.
Yeah.
That is so fucking insane. I love that, like, you have done multiple movies that have hit have hit like multiple weird statuses, you know? Like, you really have. Like, Dungeons and Dragons is like cult nerd status where like people have you ever been to a screening of it, like as an adult, and like
I've gone
watched
to
it?
a cross section of some of these events.
Have
but
you
the
ever
weirdest
played
is,
Dungeons
like,
and Dragons?
No, the weirdest thing that happens to me is like all of a sudden I'll tweet something, right? And I don't even have that many Twitter. Like I'm so late to social. I don't even care. Like
What's
I
your
didn't
Twitter
want to.
if you want people to.
At
Oh, yeah.
1107 miss, right? So that's my official.
Well, that's
at
why.
1107 miss.
There we
Is
go.
No
my
one is
real
going to
that's
know what that is.
yeah, I've heard that.
Do you have an Instagram as well?
No, I
Oh.
told you.
Yeah.
That was my like. It took me 10 years to sign up for Twitter, and then I'm like, that's it. I'm
So
only
it's
doing. I'm not doing anything.
1107 Miss?
Miss.
Yes. Yeah.
Miss.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so I what was this?
Oh, we're talking about. Have you ever been to a screening of it,
Oh,
or anything like? Have you ever? You said you've been to.
oh
Some,
no, that's like the weirdest thing. Is like, yeah,
tweet
I do
something.
to some of these. So I went to like a weird Ghost World screening like that, but it wasn't that weird. I never made it to a Dungeons and Dragons screening like that, where it's just like the cult followers showing up, but I always get invited to them. Like I get these weird people like DMing me or contacting me on Twitter like, hey, give me your email real quick. Like, do you want to come to Philadelphia and do like an in-person appearance or something? You know, and I'm like, for how much? And they're like, yeah, we'll give you like $25 and we'll
All the Oreos you
mean to
can
be.
eat.
You whatever. But like that, I get weird requests. Like
Have you
that
ever been
sometimes.
to LA Comic Con or to San Diego Comic Con?
I've been to the real Comic Con.
To one San Diego. At LA, we've talked a few times about doing a big panel at LA Comic Con and having on some of our podcast guests that are like
that would
be fun.
That would be good. That
where
would
we
work.
could all have an
anti-Comic Con panel.
Yeah,
I love
where
it.
we can all kind of fuck around and talk about.
I'll show up for
We'll
that.
give you
Cool.
$25.
Only if you
Yeah,
pre-send me
some more.
chainmail that's been like Taylor
Totally.
made for my.
My mom's a
ankles.
costumer. We can make
There we
that
go.
happen.
happen.
We can make anything happen. You're fucking fantastic, and I want to see more. I know that you're writing, and I want to see this fucking show get picked up, and I want to see this show out there, and I want to see you do more dark comedy shit because you're so fucking goddamn funny.
Thank
and
you. I
like
appreciate that.
people in this business need to be casting you for that shit because you're fucking hilarious.
Thank you so much.
That's
And 4 fucking monkeys. You have to
Yeah.
write that
Yep.
also.
I didn't fuck 4 monkeys, bro. What are you trying to say?
Damn it, Mike! Damn it! Mike, where can
ruined
people? Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
At Mike Black Attack on all social media.
Matt Walker, where can people get you?
You can find links to everything at funnymatt.com, or if you were annoyed by any of my questions, let me know at mattwalkersucks.com.
Again, Thora Birch is at 1107miss, and that is her official verified Twitter account that is on the internet. Also, is Thora.org
It's
a website?
the Thora.org Facebook page is real. I could say that.
Okay.
Got it. Thora's Facebook page is real, so you can
Yeah,
go there.
Thora.org Facebook page.
You can always get me at Stephen Glickman, STPHEN, Glickman on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the Nighttime Show podcast. Leave comments and post and repost and send us love and get your ass
Get your ass down here to
your
Genghis
ass-
Cohen.
Get your ass onto the internet and tell people how much you love the show. And we love you. Thank you so much, Thora. You're the fucking coolest.
Thank you.
Thank you.